Hi, in this video I'm going to demonstrate how to validate your models. Validation means making sure the data that you get is correct. It's within some type of logical range or valid range. There are multiple ways to do this. You can do this client side using HTML5 and JavaScript, and that's not wrong. In fact, a lot of security sites will tell you to validate both on the client side with HTML5 and JavaScript and on the server side using ASP. In this particular video, I'm going to focus primarily on the ASP. The reasons for that are a couple. One is this is an ASP video, so I just really want to focus on the ASP. Secondly, any of the HTML5 stuff will supersede the ASP validation, so you won't actually see it happening. So buckle up, and we're going to do some good work. So I'm working on my continuing working on my computer store application, and what I have is the ability to enter data and display a thank you back. But I've got some issues with it. See, I can enter a blank form. That's not a good move. I could also pick something here, enter like -34 RAM, a million speed here, 5 quadrillion terabytes. All right, so this is HTML5 validating me. If I don't do this right, it went through. So that's HTML5 validated. That's not wrong. It's a good thing to do. It pops up immediately on the user side, and they know exactly what they've done wrong. That's handled in my view. You see I've got min and max is set here. And this ASP4 email, this type email here, will force me to have at least an @ sign in it. I can also require an object there. If I put require inside this object, HTML5 will not let you go through if it's blank. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with this. But again, I just want to take a look at this in ASP. So let me get rid of this. Okay, so let's start by dealing with the controller. Go to my home controller. I'm going to find my post for order form. Right now, I'm assuming that everything's correct with my order. Rarely things are correct with the order, especially when users are involved. If my model state is valid, I'm going to return the order and thank them. Otherwise, I'm going to send it back to the order. Okay, so now I'm starting to deal with ASP's model state and whether it's valid or not. To start, I'm going to demonstrate how email works. Going back to my order form, take out the type equal email, make this text again. So I'm not using HTML5 here. And after this, I'm going to put in an output. And this is where the error message is going to appear. I use text danger from Bootstrap. And with no errors, this will turn out blank. When we get an error, it will appear. So let's handle this concept all the way up through. So I'm going to add one of these guys to each one of these. So I'm putting them inside that div, and I'm linking the validation for to the object that's in my model. Okay, so let's require email. Let's start there. So let's see what's happening right now if I do a blank email. Okay. All right, so clearly it's working already. That checking the model worked. This is popping up because we can't have a blank value as a number. Email field required is just entered in for me by ASP. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify initially. I'm going to get these values to be correct. So I'm going to have custom error messages. I'm also going to solve the problem here if I pick processor that it yells at me. This program will not send the data until we get it right. We see even if I pick something, it stays here. It is persistent. So let's make this happen. So let's go to our order item model. You're going to have to use this using system component model data annotations. This is going to allow me to put the annotations that are needed up above my required section. So for each one of these, I'm going to start with the following. I'm going to require them all. I'm going to send my own error message in. I'm going to enter in very nice messages. Don't be mean in your error messages. You don't know the kind of day the person's having. So be nice, be polite, tell them precisely what they need to do. And if needed, give them an example. You can also do that in the form itself. You can use the placeholder. So like you want to come back to my input type. Okay, so with those error messages, see what happens. Oh, and also at the same time, I'm going to solve the problem with process. The problem with processor is I put none here. I'm going to leave it blank. So let's run it. Build a computer, enter it, bam, please pick a processor, and please enter email. So I'm getting my numbers back. So this is still invalid because of the data conversion. So let's fix that, at least for RAM. So you can have multiple requireds. Curly 0 is the fields, and then curly 1 is the low ends, curly 2 is the high ends. And then to get rid of that error completely, I'm going to go back to my order form and I'm going to set a default. I normally wouldn't put 0 in for this RAM. I'd put 4 there. I'd put the lowest end. But I'm going to show you what happens with the 0 there. Zero should have popped up. It didn't, so they put a 0 there. Put a 0 in value must be greater than or equal to 4. That is the HTML. So let me turn that off. Get rid of that whole step as well. In reality, again, you would use both HTML and ASP. I'm just trying to demonstrate what the ASP does. There we go. There's my error message. Value for RAM must be between 1 and 4. And I can do that all the way down for each one of these guys. You also see the please pick a processor is selected because of none. You have a lot of annotations. If you go online, you go to Microsoft Docs, and you take a look at the range validations and the model validations, there are like 20 objects you can put up there. So as an example, if I put blah in there, it accepts it. That's not an email address. Let's stop that. Let's use another object. So I'm going to come back here to my email. I'm going to use a data type. And you see what I've got there. I've got password, custom, date, email address, currency, credit card, date, time, HTML, all sorts of cool stuff there. I'm going to pick email address. Run it again. Should have given me, oh, I don't have an error message display, but that data message will definitely pick it up. All right, so you've seen roughly how to require your objects. Take a look at the Microsoft documentation for all of the possibilities you can enter in here. The broad strokes are in your controller. You pick up the model state, and then in your object you enter in the ranges and the validations you want. I'm displaying the error message underneath, but you can also display that at the very top if you want. So if you wanted to show all the error messages on the page, you can do an ASP summary here. And this is displayed both top and bottom. Why I need that question mark to go away. Bam. And you could format that. You could set the class on that if you wished. What's neat is it's interactive. As soon as you fix something, it goes away. This value is invalid. I think we can fix that. Let's see if we can solve that. That's because RAM isn't nullable at this point. I'll put question marks after these. Oops, after not the question there, after int. This says this data type can be nullable. Now be real careful with these. Sometimes when you start connecting databases in the future, that'll cause some real issues if you have a not null reading into a nullable field. And it becomes one of those errors that doesn't tell you what the error is, it just vomits at you. Yeah, so now I'm not getting the blank is invalid. It allows me to be blank. Now I can put a number in here, and now my other pops up. Outstanding. All right, guys, good luck.